Okay, gonna try that one more time. Who'd have thought that when you walk down a 500-year-old alley with similarly aged buildings on either side, that reception wouldn't like that. Ah well. So if you were with me on my last scope, guys, I dropped out while I was in Advocates Close, which is just over that way. Now I'm going to take you into part of the campus of the new college, which for my money is one of the most spectacular places in the entire city. And it's really easy to forget about, strangely enough. I almost never end up in there. So let's go check it out. Andrew, great to see you guys. A9630, another fantastic Scottish scoper. Do encourage you to follow along with his adventures. So let's go into the new college. And if you're not getting serious Hogwarts vibes from this, then I just can't help you. As I mentioned in the earlier scope, Edinburgh is very much the city of Harry Potter. But you really feel like it in the streets here. So let's go check it out. The symmetry in here is actually staggering, and you start to get a bit of an echo as well. Now just wait for the grand reveal. You see the building up ahead? How's that for a frame? Just stunning. Now, I'm a bit lighter on the history of this one, guys. My knowledge of the history of the university isn't that great, although I can tell you about that guy there, John Knox. But I think let's just appreciate the architecture here, because it's one of the places in the city where you get this absolutely magical feeling. This is mostly for people who are studying divinity and ecclesiastical studies, so if you're doing that, then you luck out and you get to study in a place like this. I was able to get into the library a few times. I sort of found excuses to get into that library, and it's every bit as beautiful as you might imagine. This is John Knox, a very controversial figure, the tip of the spear for the Protestant Reformation in Scotland, set the foundations for the system of education in Scotland, but was a very divisive figure. I would not have wanted to sit down for a pint with John Knox, because he was quite a fundamentalist and a bit bigoted as well. But hey, he did a lot of good in the long run, even if he was quite acerbic in his own time. You get monuments to Knox all around the city because he did preach from, amongst other places, the pulpit of St Giles. I just love that they've sort of encapsulated that as well with the spire of St John's Highland Tolbooth Kirk, or the Hub, as we call it for short, framed by the new college. Well, I don't think that John Knox wanted to kill Mary Queen of Scots, but he definitely wasn't a fan of her being on the throne. He was really particularly an opponent of two things. One was Catholicism, and that's, you know, to be expected when you're the head of the Protestant Reformation. But he also hated, and I mean absolutely hated, the idea of women being in power. He wrote an entire book called The First Blast of the Trumpet against the monstrous regiment of women. So you get a sense of how he would have fit in. I think he would have fit right in quite a few internet chat boards nowadays. And the whole idea behind that was that he didn't believe that women would rule with their heads rather than with their hearts. And all I have to say to that is, have you ever heard of a guy named Alexander III? He was the King of Scots who couldn't wait to shack up with his new French wife, so he got himself killed in a storm and started the Wars of Independence. If Alexander III just was a bit less passionate in his decision making, well, you probably never would have heard of these guys named William Wallace and Robert the Bruce. So that's John Knox for you. or the orange one, whose name I've taken to try to avoid saying, you know, a bit like Voldemort. He absolutely would have. Yeah, he was a fundamentalist at the end of the day. That's very much an apt descriptor for Knox. Very much a product of his time. Whether you want to excuse that is one thing, but yeah, he was a pretty unsavory guy on a personal level. Now let's walk back out that square. As beautiful as it is, I'll just give you one more perspective of that there. And I'll show you a little bit of the new town from something of a viewpoint. So we're in the old town right now. But on the other side of the gardens, you've got the new town. Now I think signal might be dropping out, guys. I've just noticed a bunch of people dropping away. So hopefully that's signal issues, not me just being really boring. Let's go take a look at a little bit of the new town, see what we can see. I'll flip it into landscape Still here? Cool, thanks for letting me know. I think reception does get a bit fuzzy in there. But we can now get fab views over the new town. We're looking west just now and over to the east. So there's monuments like the Walter Scott Monument, got the National Gallery, and in the distance we should be able to clock a little bit of Calton Hill with its monuments as well. So we're right on the edge of the old town bordering on the new town. So really just wanted to show you a quick glimpse inside the new college there, guys. Do think it's one of the prettiest corners of the city, and I don't have many opportunities to make it in there, so just wanted to share it with you for World Tourism Day. My belly is rumbling though, so I think I'm going to rock down the hill. I live down in the new town. I like when it does that, actually. It's kind of cool. I live down at the bottom of the hill in the new town, but I come into the old town for my historical fix, because that's where most of the history is, although there's still tons in the new town. So we've just gone into that building there, which is the new college of the University of Edinburgh, and head back and watch this on replay if you want to see what the inside of that looks like. It's just spectacular. But thanks very much for joining with me, guys. Just a fairly quiet, low-key level scope, which is all good. I like those from time to time. That's kind of a neat perspective there. So yeah, thanks very much, and I will see you again very, very soon. You can go to the top of St Giles. This itself isn't a kirk, that's part of the university. I'm not sure how you would access the top of the towers, but I'm sure someone is able to. But you can go to the top of the Scott Monument, which is that one just there. You can climb all the way to that observation platform right at the top, which is a bit freaky, but it does give you magnificent views out over the city. So with a little bit of Newtown to sign off on, guys, thank you very much indeed, and I will catch you from somewhere else awesome in Scotland along the way before long. Cheers.